Today we will be reviewing telling time to the hour and half hour. The things that we're going to go over today in this video are things that we've already learned, but this video is just a resource to help you through the future tasks and just to refer back to as you need it. Okay, so there are two types of clocks. There's a digital clock and an analog clock. A digital clock is typically what you see every day on your computer, on your parents' phones, but an analog clock is what we're going to be focusing on today, which you can see on the right. It has all the numbers 1 through 12 around it. So on an analog clock, there are two hands. A hand is an arrow on the clock. There is the hour hand, which is the short hand, and there is the minute hand, which is the long hand. I have always had a really hard time remembering which hand is which, but if you think about the word hour and the word minute, the word hour only has 4 letters, so it's short, like the short hand. The word minute has 6 letters. That is long. It's a long word. So the long arrow is the minute hand. So we have the hour hand and the minute hand. So on our clock, we have 12 numbers, 1 through 12. It goes all the way around the clock. And this is how we know what hour it is. If it is pointing to the 1, it is in the 1 o'clock hour. If it's pointing to the 2, it's in the 2 o'clock hour. And these numbers also represent the minutes. But you have to count by 5s to figure out how many minutes it is. So when we start at 12, that is 0 minutes. So if the minute hand is on the 12, that means it's something o'clock, like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and so on. And then you can continue to count around by 5s. So we go from 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. When you see the minute hand on the 6, it is 30. So we're only really focused on the minute hand being on the 12 and the minute hand being on the 6. In 2nd grade, you will learn more in depth about the clock, but we're only worried about when the minute hand is pointing to the 12 and the 6. So when the minute hand is pointing to the 12, it's o'clock, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, depending on where your hour hand is pointing. And when the minute hand is on the 6, it is something 30, like 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, depending on where your hour hand is. Okay, so let's look at our first clock. So the first thing I need to do is I need to decide what hour is it. My hour hand, is that the long hand or the short hand? That's the short hand, my hour, and that's the first number that I need to determine. So my hour, right here, it's pointing to the 5, so it's 5 something. And oh, look, my minute hand is pointing to the 12, so that is 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. My hour hand is on the 5, so I know it's 5 something. My minute hand is pointing to the 12, so I know that's o'clock. So 5 o'clock. So now if I look at my second clock, I see that my hour hand is in between the 5 and the 6. Remember, our minute hand is constantly moving around the clock. Our hour hand, is constantly moving around the clock. So if the hour hand is in between the 5 and the 6, it is still in the 5 o'clock hour. It hasn't quite made it to the 6 yet. So it's still 5 something. And then my minute hand is on the 6, and that means it's 30. So it is 5:30. Since my hour hand is in between my 5 and my 6, it has not made it to the 6 yet. So it's still 5. And my minute hand is on the 6, so it is 5:30. Okay, now I'm going to give you a second to look at this clock and figure out what time it is. Okay, what'd you get? Did you get 2 o'clock? No, that's wrong. There's not a hand on the 2 or the 12. But let's look at our hour hand first. Remember, we look at our hour hand first. It's in between our 7 and our 8. It has not made it to the 8 yet, so it is still 7 something. It's 7 something. Now let's see where our minute hand is. It is on the 6. So that means it's 30. So it is 7:30. Did you get that right? If you need to review the video again, you can feel free to do that. The next thing you need to do is do the practice using the ThingLink website with your partner, and then you will move on to the individual practice on iExcel, which is on the activity U2, and then you're going to do U4. You need to make a score of a 90 on those. If you get stuck while you're doing the practice with your partner, go back and look at this video. You can look at it as many times as you need to remember. I know a lot of times we're getting confused on which hand is the minute hand and which hand is the hour hand. Good luck on your next activities.